Madam Speaker, I move that the following address and reply to His Excellency's speech be agreed to. To His Excellency, the Honourable Kim Beazley AC, Governor of the State of Western Australia. May it please Your Excellency, we, the Legislative Assembly of the Parliament of the State of Western Australia, in Parliament assembled, beg to express loyalty to our most gracious Sovereign and to thank Your Excellency for the speech you have been pleased to address to Parliament. Madam Speaker, I cannot express enough how honoured I feel to be the member to give the address and reply to the Governor's speech. I would like to congratulate you on your new position of Speaker, and I acknowledge you as the first woman to have held the position. The significance of this is not lost on me, as I too have achieved a similar first, and that is to be the first woman to be the member for Geraldton in its 131-year history. When I look around this place, I can clearly see the 2021 election was a historic and galvanising moment for Western Australia, the Labor Party and women in general. Prior to today, only 93 women have been elected to this parliament since 1921, starting with the election of Edith Cowan. Only 93 in the past 100 years. With the 13 new women sworn into Assembly today, that number will rise to 106 and rise again with the new council to 114. To add some context to that, Madam Speaker, you were just the 30th woman elected to this parliament, and the Honourable Alana McTiernan was only the 26th. It is my hope that an ever-growing number of women will see leadership as a genuine possibility for them. My role going forward is to ensure this place offers opportunities for everyone in my region. It's appropriate to acknowledge the land on which this parliament stands. I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. My region is the Midwest of this state. Big sky country, flat plains, endless ocean vistas, sand dunes, blasting winds from ocean and desert, and seemingly endless sunshine. A region that requires grit and tenacity to succeed. To come to this place from Geraldton takes a lot of hard work and determination, and you cannot do it alone. My path from the Midwest to Parliament here today was forged by my loyal team, family and friends. For me, it took 2 elections to arrive here and a huge amount of support from my dedicated group of people. Parliament House is not a place I'd naturally considered for myself, but the idea of being here was a seed planted after a chance meeting with my now friend and mentor, Alana McTiernan. Alana recognised something in me that until that point I had not fully recognised in myself. Alana saw the person standing before you today, a person committed to her community and Labor values, and recognised those attributes as integral to being a great local representative. I will be forever grateful, Alana, for your encouragement, support and friendship. Thank you. Thank you to my family, who are my biggest cheerleaders, my dad Barry, mum Annette, and my children Riley and Keely. A big thank you to my wonderful partner Mike, who supported me, listened to me, but most of all loved me through the demands of the campaign. To Terence and Emily, thank you for all you do for our family, coming to the rescue at times of need. And to my sister Jane, I really would not be here in this place if it was not for you. Your love and fierce protection, honesty and belief in me is what has kept me focused and determined. I feel very lucky to have you. I would like to thank my campaign director, Laurie Graham. He has been a solid, calm influence. Laurie's depth of knowledge and understanding of Geraldton and the Midwest region has been invaluable, not only to me, but to the people of our city. Laurie is retiring at the end of his term, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank him most sincerely for his service to the people of Geraldton over many, many years. And I wish him and his wife Heather the best of health and happiness. It now means more time in the garden for you, Laurie. My biggest thank you and gratitude goes to the formidable Judy Riggs. Judy was my campaign manager and is my dear friend. Judy is a true believer whose unwavering support and commitment to the Labor Party is inspirational. Thank you, Judy. Your dedication, breadth of knowledge and friendship mean the world to me. Thank you too to my small campaign team, Donna Plummer, Jeff Cannon, Sandra Carr and Margie Robinson. Thank you for the hours and hours of work you committed to me and the campaign. I could not have done this without you. I owe you so much of my gratitude. I'm particularly grateful to all my volunteers, friends and the Geraldton branch members who worked so hard to have Geraldton return to safe Labor hands. Thank you for your encouragement and support, the door knocking, the phone calling and the letterboxing. Thank you for the wise words of Rosie, who, when I was having doubts about my capabilities to be a good member, reminded me what it meant to truly represent people and how important it was to democracy and diversity to have people from all walks of life and life experiences be a voice in Parliament. Thanks to Ian Bunker, Adam Dusty and Andy White, the faithful three, who put months of work in and were always ready with encouraging words. And to Lindy White for hosting the most fabulous election night party ever seen in Geraldton. I was fortunate too to have a wonderful mentor in Candy Broad through Emily's List. Thank you, Candy, for your understanding of the trials and tribulations of a regional candidate, your shared knowledge and your good humour. My campaign, like all others, also benefited greatly from donations, contributions and supports received from various unions, local businesses, individuals, family and friends. Thank you for your investment and belief in me and our campaign and for having helped us make such a great impact. I would also like to say thank you to the Premier for the leadership he has provided to this state through the pandemic across the last 4 years, as well as heading up a strong campaign. The Premier and the Ministry were frequent attractions in Geraldton, and it's clear from the response of the public they put together a compelling plan for Geraldton and the Midwest. And to the people of Geraldton, I am humbled by the way in which you have overwhelmingly presented me with the privilege of representing you. Thank you. The magnitude of this endorsement is both overwhelming and comforting. I will work hard for you at home and in this House so that together we can all move forward and build upon our already vibrant city, which is rich in both opportunity and community spirit. As I look around this place today and I note the restrictions in place, I am reminded that COVID-19 is part of our everyday, and I remain grateful to the McGowan government for protecting our state and providing its citizens a lifestyle and security other nations wish they had. My heart goes out to those who have lost family and friends to this devastating virus around the world, and I wish you all peace and comfort as you grieve. Geraldton, or Gero as it's affectionately called, has always held a special place in my heart. I was born and raised in Geraldton, and I've spent most of my adult life there raising my family. Many of you will be familiar with the howling southerlies that blow through the city at the height of summer, but Geraldton is more than just wind. It is rich in history and diverse in industry and community. Although Geraldton, Jambanbiri, is the traditional home to Southern Yamaji cultural groups such as Willinyu, Amangu and Nagaja peoples, it is now home to many other Yamaji cultural groups such as Widi, Nanda, Wajiri, Badamaya, Ingara and Mulgana. Additionally, other Aboriginal groups from throughout Western Australia also now call Geraldton home: Western Desert Matu, Noongar, Wangai, Gidja and Pilbara Malpa. The Southern Yamaji cultural groups have a history in this region of Western Australia, stretching back thousands of years and generations, and their rich culture, heritage and traditions are weaved through the cultural fabric of contemporary Geraldton. I have witnessed the strength and spirit of the Geraldton community many times. I've experienced it at a personal level when my father suffered a stroke 13 years ago. The rallying of the community, wrapping their collective arms around my family in love and support, was truly awe-inspiring. And I've recently seen it at the community level in the aftermath of ex-tropical cyclone Saroja. Geraldton was fortunate that the winds receded and the storm was downgraded before reaching us. Geraldton did incur some damage and we lost power for several days, but we did not receive the infrastructure devastation, unlike our neighbours who bore the brunt and damage to their towns. I've been immensely proud of the people of Geraldton, pitching in, providing comfort and working together to ensure our neighbours in Northampton, Kalbarri, Perenjori, Three Springs, Minningew and Morawar had the support they required. I've hit the ground running as a new MP, with briefings and meetings and being available to an electorate who sometimes just needed to know that they were not forgotten. Bearing witness to the wonderful work of the Department of Fire and Emergency Services, the SES and the Department of Communities, seeing individuals within those agencies work above and beyond has reminded me that community takes many different forms. Many people from my community spoke of being stunned by the effective and efficient response from these services, and that at times they seemed to appear like a team of superheroes ready to swiftly come to our assistance. Cyclone Saroja was a reminder that our good fortune and blessings can be altered in an instant, but that with a supportive community, recovery is always possible. Change is inevitable, but thankfully not usually so dramatic as witnessed in the past weeks. The Geraldton of my childhood has changed considerably to the Geraldton we see today, largely in part to the great vision of the Gallop government. The removal of the railway line from along the foreshore allowed for new development along that area and beautified the heart of the town. No longer do we look out to see a rail fence cutting off access to the ocean, but instead we've been able to capitalise on the beauty of the sea. That vision gave us renewed belief in the possibility and opportunity in our city. The busy port of Geraldton, which is situated in the heart of the town, reminds us every day who we are and what industries support us. I'm gladdened to see the cargo ships anchored offshore, waiting to come into port to load whatever commodity for that particular vessel, whether it be iron ore, grain or mineral sands. The grain silo, standing tall behind the port and shadowing the West End, reminds us of our beginnings as an exporter of grain and the farming community that surround us. The families of these farms play an integral role in our community, attending our schools and patronising our businesses. The Fisherman's Wharf and the bustling comings and goings of the fishing industry and crew, from the largest providers of rock lobster, or crays, around the world, to yellowtail kingfish, are tucked out of view for most of us, but form a large part of our city's industry. These places and primary industries and the families and secondary industries they support are iconic organisations and tightly woven into the fabric of the region. As you can see, the Geraldton electorate is demographically diverse. Through door knocking and being involved in many community groups and services over the years, I've witnessed that many of us are living full, healthy and happy lives. However, many of us are not. Sometimes the divide seems insurmountable, but over the past 4 years, the McGowan government has worked to bring that divide down, and I'm so grateful to now be part of a government that keeps working to ensure that the wealth of our state and the opportunities many of us enjoy are shared with everyone. I will be advocating for Geraldton's government agencies and community services to be as well resourced as possible so that the people of Geraldton receive the supports, financial, physical and emotional, that they need and are entitled to. In my electorate, I've come face to face with poverty, family and domestic violence and life circumstances that have crippled families. I'll be working hard for everyone in my electorate, but I'll be working particularly hard for those who struggle and need a little bit of extra help so that they too can pursue the abundant opportunities in our city. I really do feel we are lucky in Geraldton. It feels like we have it all. We are well catered for at all levels of education, from pre-primary schools to tertiary institutions. We have fantastic facilities with our hospital, library, museum and regional art gallery. We have a large sporting hub and sporting organisations that have been in existence for several decades, rich in ritual and history. We have a vibrant coastline on our doorstep and a creative and cultural community that enriches our streets and our minds. But we do need to diversify, build upon and harness the existing opportunities we have. I've already been working on the cycle network, tourism and initiatives that capitalise on our natural assets and resources, and I know there are many more to come. This re-elected McGowan government is committed to investing in projects throughout our community that will support and grow our local visionaries, and as the member for Geraldton, it will be my privilege to work alongside them. It is certainly safe to say that Geraldton was a small town when my parents were married at the local registry office in 1969. I came along the following year, and my sister Jane 3 years after that. We lived in state housing in Rangeway and attended the Catholic school nearby. My dad Barry worked for the Main Roads Department as a soil technician. It was solid, dusty work, and he spent a lot of time out on the road in places like Mount Magnet and Paynes Fine. My mum Annette worked as an office clerk and manager, and according to her, she was back to work with me tucked under her desk when I was 6 weeks of age. I do not remember them ever not working. They are working class people who worked hard and loved hard. We didn't have a great deal, but my sister and I didn't go without either. Life was simple, and at times it did feel a bit hard, but we certainly had love. Our parents raised us with the strong Labor values. My dad loved the Labor Party and still does, and my grandmother Julia on my mother's side was a staunch Labor member. She migrated from Ireland as a young woman with her sister. She married my grandfather Jim, an Irishman in Geraldton, and went on to raise 9 children with her railway worker husband. Life was pretty tough for them, but that didn't stop Julia working hard for others, helping out with charities, and when the cyclone hit the northwest in 1961, my grandmother was at the recreation ground preparing food for the evacuees that came down from Carnarvon. I learnt from an early age, sitting at my grandmother's knee, that there was always someone who could use a helping hand. The lesson wasn't to make you feel better than others, but to be grateful for what you had and to know that you can always spare something of yourself to help someone else out. My parents and my grandmother have really been the inspiration for me. We lived the values of fairness, compassion, workers' rights and equality. Now that I have the privileged position of being in this place, that will be the lens I look at everything through. It guides and supports me, and I am grateful for the counsel of the wise people who raised me. I graduated Year 12 from Stella Maris College in 1987, and one of my first jobs was as a children's television presenter on the GWN Saturday Club. I was Lara from Geraldton, and my role was to make little stories of things to do around town, as well as telling jokes that the children had sent into the show. One of the questions I posed myself whilst drafting this speech was, what is my connection to Geraldton and it to me? It dawned on me, during that period of my life, straight out of high school, I was building my relationship with my community. Over the years, that connection has strengthened through my different experiences, owning and operating my own small business, my involvement in sporting clubs, not-for-profit organisations and roles on school boards, the Midwest Development Commission and the Midwest Ports Authority have all prepared me for the role of representative. What I realised is that I did not suddenly become a leader or representative. My community and the trust they placed in me over all those years have prepared me to take on this role. I will serve my community with everything I have because I am part of it and they are part of me. I have worked for over 20 years in the hospitality and training sector as a lecturer. I've seen the opportunities it can create for people, and most significantly, the importance of a well-resourced TAFE that people are able to afford to enrol in. Having access to this training is vital to our futures, particularly in the regions, as it retains and attracts young people to our town that are skilled. Let's face it, there is no point in having a city humming with industry if there is nowhere to get a good coffee. My journey to become a TAFE lecturer started when I was waitressing part-time. My son Riley was about 2 years old. I was a single mum of 29. I realised quite early on that the money and the hours would simply not be enough for me to support myself and my son as I would like. I recall a lot of stress and financial strain at the time. As much as I love the hospitality industry, and it had given me so many opportunities, as a single parent, with a little boy, it simply wouldn't cut it. I got to talking to a friend of mine who worked at TAFE, and I asked him, how do I transfer my real life on-the-job skills into getting a job there? I knew the hours would be more conducive to parenting and better money. My friend told me how I could earn my qualifications. I enrolled straight away with the Geraldton TAFE, and I quickly became certified in hospitality and supervision. I was ready when the opportunity arose to apply for a position at TAFE as a hospitality lecturer. I studied hard for that interview and I got the job. To be honest, the thought of presenting lectures and training students terrified me. I had had a lot of experience in training staff, but it had been on the job, not in a formal setting. But off I went and I did it. And 20-odd years later, here I stand in Parliament House today, telling you how it was a great job. It gave me so much: stability, security, and professional rewards. I tell you this story to demonstrate who I am and what Alana recognised in me when she encouraged me to run for the seat of Geraldton in 2017. I was quite dismissive of the suggestion at first. I said things like, "Why me?" And Alana said, "Why not you?" And then it came to me, yeah, why not me? We all come to this place from different backgrounds, with different skills and abilities, which is a strength of this Parliament. I look around me and I see lawyers, farmers, doctors, journalists, small business owners, tradies and teachers. People who have worked for a living, people who have fought for the rights of those workers, and people who have served our nation. Whether you come from academia, from the cab of a truck, from the floor of a busy restaurant or the floor of a busy factory, I believe your contribution to civic life is equally important. I'm an ordinary person who seizes opportunities when they present themselves, and I've been thinking, what does it mean to the average person who lives in Geraldton when such notions of delivering a diverse economic base are raised, or the opening of Oakajee Industrial Estate? Perhaps it means a single mum can support herself and her son. Perhaps it means opportunities can be seized by the people of Geraldton. It is not hard to envisage an epic or even poetic vision of future Geraldton. Renewable energy, regenerative agriculture, blue carbon farming, let alone the excitement of renewable hydrogen and the multitude of employment and economic opportunities such initiatives will create. With energy and enthusiasm, together we must build upon existing opportunities and create new ones to attract people to work and live in Geraldton. This means opening industries such as the Green Hydrogen Hub and the Oakajee Industrial Estate. We boast vast amounts of renewable energy resources, a highly skilled workforce, established markets and strong proven supply chains. I see Geraldton and the Midwest uniquely positioned to be a global renewable resource leader. Geraldton is on the cusp of being a well-connected smart city, which specialises in natural resources and related industries. Industries such as tourism play an increasing role in our economic diversity, with the opening of the Abrolhos Islands being the star in the Geraldton crown and truly connecting land and sea. We are globally recognised for our windsurfing and kite surfing. Our wind and wave culture are a huge tourism opportunity we are capitalising. Word is finally out. Geraldton is the new destination of choice, though we locals have always known that. These opportunities for varied and diverse industries will pose new challenges, such as retaining that small town feel that attracts many to Geraldton in the first instance, even though we currently are a small city. With the attraction of more people to Geraldton to take up these opportunities comes the contemporary problem of housing and, of course, the other knock-on effects to services and agencies' resources with an increase in population. These are all the things I'm very much looking forward to working on with the relevant groups, because each of these challenges are really opportunities to create the Geraldton we are all working towards. Unearthing opportunities for the people of Geraldton to have jobs, to raise families, to stay in town after graduating high school because you can. That is at the core of my task as the member for Geraldton. I'm not here to decide what our city grows to become. I'm here to amplify and support those who are already building it. My invitation to our community and to my colleagues in this House is, let's work together to take Geraldton into a strong, prosperous future.